and not great on the road.
We're getting a call.
Good.
Yeah, Mason in Ireland. Rob Pelinka, is this you?
You know, I took a break from golfing in between holes because, you know, John, I was looking for John on the 16th fairway, but, you know, he's working today.
Yeah, Rob, if I didn't have radio, I'd be right there with you. My tag team partner Bill McDonald is not on this trip, so I'm kind of at a loss. Rob, did you have as much fun as I did at that game? I thought that was one of the great NBA games I've ever got to do. What did you think?
You know, I think that it was a game that lived up to the expectations and the hype, that's for sure. And the energy in the building was unbelievable. Obviously, you know, two great franchises, you know, superstar players. Game goes down to the end. It just had all the ingredients of a special game. We were grateful to be a part of it.
So you mentioned ingredients. How'd you take all the new players, all these new ingredients at the trade deadline, and turn it into this? And did you expect it to be this good?
You know, we assess things. You know, we had to have a little bit of patience. Obviously, you know, methodical with the work, but really wanted to craft a roster around, you know, sort of the Wake Darvin coaches. And last night, you know, it was a little bit full circle. We opened the season against the Warriors on opening night in that building. And just, you know, I think it became evident we wanted to add some wing depth and defense to our squad, you know, some playmaking with the ball and shooting. And, you know, by bringing in Rui Hamatura and then the subsequent trade of, you know, D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt, just really felt like we were able to add the right pieces to the way Darvin wanted to coach the team. And as I said, grateful to be, you know, in the playoffs for our Lakers Nation fans, but clearly not satisfied. This is where we belong, and we work hard to put ourselves in this position. And, you know, we won a game, but we're not doing any victory laps.
Yeah, and Darvin was quick to point that out, Rob, after the game. I know you heard him, that, you know, his big thing that he stresses all the time is humble in victory, that it's not one game you need, it's four. And the Warriors are such a worthy opponent. I mean, they're such a good team, and you know, we've got a great team, and that was like a heavyweight fight. It was really good. You know, one thing I wanted to ask you about, you've talked when we've had you on before, you've talked about how you consider LeBron and AD partners along with star players, that it's a partnership and you sometimes will lean on them and get their take before you do things. I'm curious. I've always thought LeBron's kind of a basketball savant, like bordering on a genius. What's the one thing more than anything else you've learned working with LeBron?
You know, it's Darvin as the head coach, me as the GM. Of course, you're always tapping into your captains and getting both, you know, feedback and inspiration from them. I think, you know, just the business nature of LeBron, especially when it comes to playoff time, just how methodical he is. I mean, I think in a film session with his teammates, obviously having faced the Warriors and other playoff matchups, just the details and the fine points that he brings to the table is pretty remarkable. He, as your point, he's a savant, and he just, you know, he may take Austin Reeves through on this off-ball pin down, you know, here's the way you want to defend the Looney, you know, Clay pin down, and
right.
He's seen it so many times, but he's very vocal. I think everybody knows during the playoffs he really kind of goes into blackout mode where it's all about the next game and it's all about the next play, and his teammates feel that leadership.
So, Rob, I'm a really superstitious person. Like, if I'm in the bedroom and the Lakers are losing, I move to the living room. If I'm in a bar and the Lakers are losing, I'll switch from tequila to bourbon. Are you superstitious? Like, okay, so I saw you talking to Ramona Shelburne on the floor last week during the Memphis series. And if you talk to Ramona on the floor and the Lakers lose, do you avoid her the next game?
You know, I was talking to Ramona about her amazing son, who I understand is a Lakers fan, and she told me earlier today that despite a lot of folks picking the Warriors in this series, her son was a diehard Laker fan. So shout out to him and
Daniel
getting inspiration. Yeah, it's a substantial fan there.
Hey, Mace mentioned, or you, Rob, mentioned Austin Reeves. Austin told me a story that you were the first one to call him after the draft, after last year's draft, and tell him how interested you were in bringing him in. I'm curious, what did you see in him? It's obvious the guy's an NBA player. If that draft was taken over again, somebody, maybe us, would have drafted him the way things have turned out. But what did you see in him that made you pick up the phone and call him right after the draft?
I think two things: basketball IQ and then unmatched competitive nature. I think, in my agent days, I'd heard rumblings of him. I represented Buddy Hield, who came out of Oklahoma, and so our entire scouting department, really studied Austin. He, had major strides, I think, in the draft process at the combine. But just, I think those two things, the competitive nature, it's. And I was joking at the beginning about golfing. Of course, we're working our butts off today in the film room and just kind of getting ready for game 2. But, whether Austin's on the golf course playing or whether, we had pickleball tournament the other day in our building, if it's ping pong, he's got that competitive, stain, right, where it's no matter what he's doing, he's going to win. And I think guys like that you bet on. He's an ultimate competitor and extremely high basketball IQ. That's a foundation for a really good player.
You mentioned pickleball. I'll just throw this in with great humility. I am the greatest pickleball player at 710 ESPN. I am.
Well, we'll have to get a rematch because D'Angelo Russell and I we maneuvered our way to the Final Four in the inaugural Lakers pickleball tournament.
Nice.
So you may have to show us your skills.
Next year we got a big pickleball tournament we do every year. We got to get you out there and play. It was a blast this year. So when it's the playoffs, is it all basketball all the time? You mentioned watching game film, or like between series, do you have a movie going? Do you watch Succession? Are you watching any particular show to sort of take your mind off stuff?
It's interesting. One of the things about this team that I think it's important for our fans to understand is not only do the basketball pieces fit together nicely, but this group of guys, 15 players plus the two-way players who are with us, so 17 guys. I mean, they're extremely together. They're just a together group. They love competing with one another. When we were in Memphis, there was and John was there. I remember talking to him about this, but there was 4 or 5, 4 days in between games. We're kind of stuck in a city. The Lakers organization decided in our hotel to kind of take over the rooftop. They had like a rooftop lounge / bar. And we decided to take it over, and we put up, sort of ping pong tables, cornhole on the outside deck, set up a ton of big TVs for all the playoff games. Obviously had food, drinks, card tables, poker, just where the guys could go. And it was, the entire team was there every night. And I think those togetherness moments when you're on the road are just huge for coming together. And when you're in a battle like we were last night, against the Warriors, who have, they've had so many reps together as a team in big series. I think to have the fortitude and togetherness as a new group, I think is a testament to how much time these guys have really bonded and spent together to learn one another, and you can see it on the court.
Well, you're being modest, Rob. I mean, you get a lot of credit for putting this group together. And I thought it took a lot of guts to shuffle the deck at the trade deadline the way you did. I mean, a lot of times if you do that, it takes a team a year to figure it out. These guys, for some reason, and I'll credit the coaching staff and you guys in the front office, these guys, for some reason, have gelled really quickly. And I think that's a really good sign. Now, Rob, I don't know if you – I think you saw this. Rob Lowe was at the game last night. And for, ever since you got the GM job, people have been, that's a huge compliment that they compare you to Rob Lowe.
Yeah, they put you in a split screen with Rob Lowe.
Have the two of you ever met? Do you guys laugh about it, or have you never talked to him about this?
It's funny, 2 or 3 years ago, Jeannie Buss and Linda Rambis are really good friends with Rob. He's
big Laker fan.
Lakers fan going back to the Showtime era. And Tim Harris put together a season ticket holder floor seat event that was really nicely done. And Jeannie had this idea of, kind of playing a joke on to, say, hey, the GM's going to come up and address the floor seat holders on our season. And they invited Rob Lowe instead of me. And he went up there and started talking about the team, and no one said anything. They were like, oh, the GM's doing a good job. So, yes, we have met. I talked to him at the game last night and, had a good word with him and said, hey, we need you in our building, not Chase Center.
So, Rob, we got a guy who works here. His name is Scott Kaplan. I don't know if you heard of him or not, but he was on the floor with Ramona last week, and she wanted to introduce him to you. And she says that he turtled, like he went into his shell, and he got really shy, and he said, no, I don't want to do that. So the next time, I want to do this for Scott. The next time Cappy is on the floor at a game, is he free to approach you and say hi?
As long as he's got some good advice. I get great advice from, our Lakers Nation. Appreciate when they give ideas, support. It's there's a lot of we have the most passionate fan base in the world, and we want to live up to those expectations. And like I said, meet it with our work. So if Cappy's got some ideas or a good strategy for, this series, we're all ears.
Ignore him. He's got no good ideas.
Yeah, no, but he's never short on opinions, Rob, so I think it may work out.
By the way, how about, Monty McNair won Executive of the Year. You know what I say? Recount, man. I think there should be a recount.
Oh, man, that's kind of you, man. Monty's a great guy. Happy for his family, happy for him. Put in a lot of work, and Sacramento had a great ball club this year. So definitely happy for him to get that award.
All right, so, Rob, a couple of things to wrap up. One is you guys made 25 free throws last night. They made 5. During the season, we shot more free throws, the Lakers did, than any team in the NBA. Was that intentional? I know we have LeBron and AD, or is that just do the players get all the credit for being aggressive, or is that something you looked at when you were building the team and said, all right, this team's going to get to the line more than anybody else, and we can use it as a weapon?
I think it's leaning into your identity. I think LeBron has been incredibly effective in the post at times throughout his career. I think, we have so many guys that are good on ball, and D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, at times Dennis Schroeder. It frees up LeBron to play some off the ball, to get into the post. And then I think Anthony Davis is, establishing himself the way he's playing as, one of the best, if not the best two-way player in the world. And he's a big man. So, of course, he's going to get touches in the paint around the basket and draw fouls. So I think part of it's just leaning into our identity. And obviously the Warriors are a jump shooting team. They're doing all their actions, outside of the three-point line and on the perimeter, where you're not going to get as many foul calls, just because that's not the nature of the perimeter game.
Well, listen, Rob, we're really excited about Game 1. The town is absolutely buzzing. Congratulations on the way. I know there's work to do, but congratulations to getting to this spot, man. An amazing job, and thanks a lot for coming on and hanging out.
Yeah, Rob, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, man, thanks for the coverage. We'll see you guys for Game 3.
All right, cool. Thank you.
All
right. There's Rob Pelinka, the general manager, and is the president of basketball operations, I think, for the Lakers.
Yeah. Had you ever heard that Rob Lowe story before?
No.
I don't think I have.
Just showed up and talked in his place.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, fantastic.